some of the summaries and stuff. You're seeing his videos too, but there's a lot of extra stuff you can go into with him. It's very odd. But now we'll go into something a little more positive. Come on, these guys for 1 minute. So we're going to get into the nudibranchs now. And if you don't know what that is, it has nothing to do with nudity. Unless you consider them nude, in which case, technically, sure. I've always seen them around, but I don't really know much about them. Except for all the lovely pictures that... Look at all these pictures. It's just amazing pictures. Look at that personality. Look at the poise. Look at them. It's pristine and amazing. Ah, oh, fantastic. I'll go into the varieties too. See, these guys are amazing all on their own, but there are specialties too. And of course, there's a plushie because why not have a plushie? Oh, there's a lot of plushies. Ooh. I have to buy some of these later. And of course, there's a plushie for everything, so why not make a plushie for them? Ooh, interesting, instructive pamphlets. Very nice. But I only know a little bit about them. As far as I know, they are sea slugs. That's about it. And what I'll be doing here, just go through the information, check out some of the most important stuff at least. And I'm going to take notes in case I want to come back to anything later. I'll make these nice and big so everybody can see them too. I'll put you right here. There you go. Okay, let's start reading. Alright, let's see. Nudibranch. No. Nudibranch. Nudibranch? Nudibranch. Oh. They are soft-bodied. They're pretty soft-bodied. So no skeleton. Skeleton. There's no skeleton. They are marine, obviously. Gastropod mollusks. Let's see. I probably should know the difference between these, but really I'm not sure. The gastropods or gastropoda are all snails and slugs. Okay, so squishy little guys that move pretty slow, and they're all invertebrates. Gotcha. It's not spine. But they're lucky. With no spine, you have more bendability. You can move yourself around more funly. Okay, you got saltwater, freshwater, and land, so they're pretty versatile. Just go everywhere. Let's see, we got sea snails. I keep hearing this. They get talked about as, or maybe not sea snails, sea slugs is probably. Let me look at a few of these here. Of course, everyone knows the freshwater snails, but just these guys. They also include limpets. What the heck is it? It's a limpet. Okay. Got land snails and just slugs. Not much families. They are univalves. They're a major part of the phylum Mollusca. So they are part of the phylum, but they derive from it, and there are probably other types of mollusks. Let's see. Huh, okay. So the snails and the slugs are pretty similar to each other. It's just when you have a shell, you call it a snail, and when you don't, you call it a slug. I'm kind of concerned for the shellless snails, though, but oh well, that's how it is. Marine species also include abalone, conches, periwinkles, and whelks. Okay, anything with a shell, all the shell people. Various limpets. Okay, there's all the shells. Now, what is a mollusk? And we're in invertebrates. They're part of the arthropods. Oh, these are lovely. Ooh, look at them. Ooh, not very well studied. But what are they, though? Like the name cuttlefish. Ooh, I'm sorry, they're neurologically advanced. They're beyond the other invertebrates, the lesser invertebrates. Okay, so what is it? Who are they all included into? Okay, man, I don't read this properly. The cephalopods are the advanced ones. It's a snail. Yes, so don't confuse the snails with the octopi, even if they're from the same phylum. Yes, the same phylum of mollusca. They are the cephalopod mollusks are highly neurologically advanced and beyond that of the simple snails and the slugs. Oh. Okay, here we go. It's a mantle of a cavity. Dorsal body wall which covers the visceral. Yeah. Okay, they have a kind of skin. Radula? Radula or radula? It's like a toothed chitinous ribbon used to scrape or cut food. Okay. But bivalves are not included, and a nervous. So essentially anything with these weird tongues, the kind of squishy flesh, and a nervous system, but no bones. Huh. Or I guess no spinal column. Do they have bones? I doubt they have bones. Okay. So they're pretty much just like the slugs. Oh wait, where do they fall? Where do they fall? They are an order within the superorder of Nudibranchs. And this pronunciation is going to be horrible. The subterclass of Ringiplura, the infraclass of Euthenura, the subclass of Herobranchia, and the class of Gastropoda. They are the gastropod mollusks. But essentially, all pretty much similar to the snails and the slugs. Snails and the slugs are the mollusks. So let's put this here. They are mollusks which go into gastropods. Okay. Okay. They shed their shells after the larval stage. Okay. That's good. Got this good part already. Babies and get shells. And when they grow up, gets rid of shells. There we go. I'll put this one, please. Let's see. They are often noted for their extraordinary colors and striking forms, and they get colorful nicknames to match the bold and brash style they have. They're called Clown, Marigold, Splendid Dancer, Dragon, Sea Rep. They get so many good names, and other animals just get horrible names. Man, people love these guys way too much. Also, there's something I can point out here. If you notice, the two names here, and I don't know enough taxonomy to really be talking about this, the two names are meant to distinguish between different species, but also between, I believe, different orders. For example, even when you have monkeys, and when people talk about monkeys and humans being similar, even if some of that is based on your DNA, for example, it's not similar in the names because they're very separated on an evolutionary tree. For example, we would be Homo sapiens. It's the full name in Latin. However, they would be very different because they're not like next to us. They're very far apart because they're so different. And even different primates such as chimpanzees, bonobos, the orangutans, gorillas, they all have different names from each other because they're also separated, along with all the lemurs and the capuchin monkeys, and all those guys. So they don't have to really be even the same. I think they don't have to be the same species. They can even be different species from each other. This is an order, and I don't know how many differences that means, but there can be lots of subtle or distinct differences that make them incompatible to breed with each other and to be just one large species that looks a little bit different. But I gotta read more about this. There we go. There's 3,000 valid species of nudibranches. Ooh, a collage of nudibranch in the Smithsonian. Ooh, fancy. Okay, look at that in a second. Let's put this one's clutter here. Mollusks. Lots and lots of mollusks. Show a picture of the regular. Ooh, there's a regular picture. Okay. Getting sidetracked here. Yep. Alright. Nudibranch comes from Latin nudus. If you couldn't figure that out, they're nude. And the ancient Greek branchia, so gills. What about like the what's that? The lungs. What's that called? The bronchia. Something about lungs in your vocal cord or your I don't know. So they're naked gills. I think they have more than gills, but okay, they're just called naked gills. That's how tricky the naming is, because it's based on Latin and then Greek, which are not compatible with each other. They have different alphabets. They have different verb systems and pronunciations. Because I looked at so much history, I figured this out. I said. Oh my god. It sounds so much better than what actually happened. I read it one time. Ancient authors would write in either Greek or Latin, because a lot of them came from Rome, and once Rome took over the entirety of all Greek-speaking areas, they had a lot of Greek writers, and there are lots of educational centers in Greece, and some of the best teachers and philosophers and a lot of other different types of professionals that would come from Greece. So you had to sort of know the language because it was the language of a higher class, more educated people, the more artistic one, and people really did love Greek. Once you learned it, they always said, ooh, it's amazing, I can know this language, I can say so many things. So it had a very old tradition too. But the way they said this was, Latin was not difficult to learn. Once you learn the structure, it could be pretty much the same. Greek was a nightmare to try and learn, because Greek wasn't just the simple learn the nouns and verbs and the sentence structure and everything's okay. No. Different places would have different verbs and different structures for how they would speak Greek. And the Greeks themselves were divided because every region thought, my Greek is better than this Greek, and it's the good Greek, or it's the Greek people should be speaking in Greece. So because of that, it became very difficult to learn it. And once you learn Greek, that was just your entry point. Then you had to learn the other types of Greek and how the Greeks are different from the Greeks. And it becomes very, very confusing and frustrating after a while. Okay. Let's keep moving on here. Nudibranches are often casually called sea slugs. So yeah, just get that name. I put the sea slug up here. Oh, I have sea snail. Okay. And again, slug because no shell. No shell, no snail. Let's get that down here. It's very important. There we go. They're a family of Nudibranchs, broncos, I don't know. And phylum, mollusca again, but many of them belong to several taxonomic groups which are not closely related to nudibranches. Wait. Oh, okay, I see. A number of these other sea slugs, such as the photosynthetic sacoglossa. Oh my god. Okay, it's an interesting shape it has. And the oh my good Aglagidae? That's like Japanese in the last part. What? God, these names. The first part's not Japanese, but if you say like Jide, that's closer to being Japanese or something. They're often confused with nudibranchs. Okay. So they're called sea slugs just to make it easy to give them a name, but they're actually different from other types of sea slugs, so they're not always the same. This photosynthetic one's interesting, though. Well, we'll get to him later. I'll put those guys not here. Where are they? Where they go? This would be a great topic in the future. Mainly because animals are not supposed to be photosynthetic. That's a bacterial and plant trick. They can just make food from nothingness. We have to go find our food and eat it all the time. But we'll keep those guys for later. Let's go here. They occur. They occur in seas worldwide, so from the Arctic all the way to the Southern Ocean, which is also the Antarctic Sea, essentially. Ooh, pretty much salt water. And some of them can live in brackish water. But okay, so they're essentially salt water, which means you can't mix them with your freshwater fish. They will die. They want salty water. They live in pretty much everywhere, and the greatest diversity is the warm shallow reefs, although one was discovered at 2,500 meters. Ooh, interesting. For the nudibranchs, they're benthic, oh, okay. Let's see. The benthic zone. Interesting. Another one is the Neustonic. What the? How does that live in the fins? Ooh, they can glide. Oh, the glaucus. Oh, I see. This one I've seen a ton of times. This is a very popular one, especially because based on, I'm gonna call them fins. Okay, it's right down there, but I'm lazy looking at it right now. What they have, the little fins that are shaped like fans. People like to compare those to fractal designs because they look so similar to fractals. So artistically, you see them get shared every single place. They're very, very common to see. Hold on a second. Getting some text messages here. I don't need that message. Okay, now shush. Alright. So you tend to see these guys everywhere, but for them to be different is a little interesting. So are they on top or on the bottom? Oh. They float upside down just under the wait a minute. They float upside down just under the surface. So they're looking at everybody below. Okay? The pelagic nudibranchs, these guys, which swim in the water column, and then the Filiobucephalum. Oh wow, Bucephalum. Huh. That was Alexander the Great's horse. His name was Bucephalus. Or something close to that. Let's get you guys down. So mostly these guys here. In the pictures you can see already here. Obviously you can see this. These guys are crawlers. They just crawl over everything. But it's not like it's not accurate to just say crawl. They float, but they float over everything so close to the surface that it looks like they're crawlers. So I'm just going to call them crawlers to make this more simple. Hoverers, maybe, if you want. Let's get the glaucus. Let's get the cephalopygi trematodes. Oh my. Merging languages like this is so frustrating. Body forms are very greatly because they're apistobranchs. Unlike most gastropods, they are apparently bilaterally symmetrical, externally, not internally. Okay, so on both sides of their body, they look the same, but inside is a mess. Then it goes secondary detorsion. Ooh. Okay. In all of them, there are sexual openings. On the right side of the body, okay, that they do everything like that on their right. They have no mantle cavity, so they're lacking that part that mollusks are supposed to have. Huh. That's interesting. Some of them have... Ooh, here we go. And this is why we do this reading ahead of time. Some of them have venomous appendages. Not poisonous appendages, venomous appendages. Just remember that difference. If it's venomous, when they try and sting you or bite you, they inject it into you. So some of them, I hope not, but some of them may be able to kill you if you touch them. Just remember, for some of these guys, it's look, no touch. Look, no touch. But it's not going to be difficult confusing one with the other. They're pretty distinct as they look here. Let's see. So it's called a serrata. There's the serrata. Oh, hands on their sides. Get rid of the predators. Many of them also have a simple gut mouth with a radula. Okay. The eyes are simple, and they can see if it's light or dark. That's what they can see. They really can't get much more. See, ooh, do National Geographic, that's good too. They're 1/4 of a millimeter in diameter. They're puny. They have a lens and 5 photoreceptors. Oh, not bad then. They vary in size from 4 to 600 millimeters. Bit of a stretch. Yeah, but some of them can be 23 inches long. Yeah. Here, species of swing. Okay. Yeah, so they lose their shell and they metamorphize. Okay, so then they're metamorphizers too. Huh. So they undergo metamorphosis. Like the beautiful underwater sea caterpillars that they are. What is it? Metamor. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a phosis in there. Yeah. Include you up here. There we go. Appropriate Nudibranchs breathe through a naked gill. Contrast on the back of the aelids in the cladobranchia. Brightly colored sets of protruding organs called serrata are present. So I assume these are just different types of nudibranches. Huh. Right, the cladobranchia are the ones that have serratas, or maybe something else. But we're looking at a lot of different types, and you can keep seeing this. Like this has a different name, this has a different name. Now to this one, to this one. This one is a Bergia, just like these guys. So there's a lot of variety that we're looking at. You can't just think they're all the same, just different colors. They're not dogs, okay? And they're not cats. I'm going to also bet they cannot interbreed with each other. Certain species are just stuck that way. They're not changing too much. They might have differences among the different members. I mean, people, dogs, and cats all look different from each other, but they're still a similar species, or same species. Because you can have a lot of diversity within one species. They can all look very different from each other. But these are phenotypical expressions of your genotype, or your genes. Your genes can be they're all the same, slight differences, which creates a very diverse peacock-like expression, if you will, of physical differences. But it's just that. There are differences within your genes. It does not make your genes the same. You can't look at two and just think, oh, they're different. They must be completely different. It's not really how it works genetically. They also have cephalic heads, tentacles that are sensitive to touch, taste, and smell. Okay. And the clubbed ones can detect. Ooh. Okay, they can. Doesn't detect odors just mean they can smell? I have no idea what this means. Okay, let's do the anatomy portion. There are oral tentacles. I don't know how to feel about that. If you're into that kind of stuff, they have oral tentacles. They have foot tentacles, which is the FT. Are these the foot tentacles or the... That's not a good enough picture to distinguish between types of tentacles. They have a... Where's their eye? Oh my god. Okay, these things are eyes. They're puny. Let's see, they have rhinophores. Oh, okay, I was probably mixing these up then. Okay, the rhinophores over here, let them smell. They smell out the top of their neck, essentially. And the cerata are over here. These cute little things will inject you. Inject you? That's not correct. They also have cnidosacs. This cnidos. That is a word. I know it's from Greek. I've seen that name in Greek places. It has to be. Ooh, interesting. Okay, this is fantastic. They not only have venomous appendages, which are the little tentacles, they also have stinging tentacles. So if you grab them, they will inject you with venom and sting you at the same time. Might just pee on you too, I don't know. Can they pee? That's a question. Of course, evolution, they lost their shells, and they developed alternative defense mechanisms. So instead of defense, they went offense. Okay, their textures and colors are supposed to mimic the surrounding sessile invertebrate animals. Oh wait. They're supposed to look like coral and sponges because that's what they want to eat. And they're camouflaging themselves, although I'm not sure how well their camouflage works. Maybe the animals can distinguish them. Other ones have intensely bright and colorful patterns to make them conspicuous in the surroundings. And poisonous tree frogs do the same thing. Those cute little frogs you see in nature documentaries that everybody knows are poisonous, it is the same exact principle here. They're meant to look very, very unique and special because they're meant to be very dangerous. And animals are supposed to pick up on that and just say no. Say no to them. No, 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 no. I'm not going to touch that. At least they're supposed to be doing that. Commonly... just as soon as I spoke about it, aposematism is the advertising by an animal to potential predators that is not worth attacking or eating. Doing profitability calculations. In marine ecosystems here. Ooh, there we go. It's I like the contestant. Contestant? I like it being contested. Species are nocturnal, cryptic, bright colors are attenuated as a function of water depth. This one is the largest of the sea slugs. Chemically defended. Nocturnals? No. So it's nocturnal when you can't see it. It does not have mimics. Which might mean that it's for something else. It's not meant to be advertising. Well, they're going to fight about this definition then. Nudibranchs that feed on hydrozoids store the hydrozoid nematocysts in the dorsal body wall of the cerata. So are these stingers or these venomous? It's probably the same thing in some cases. Alright, so this is another thing some animals can do. If you eat or attack another type of species, be it bacteria or animal, or in this case, very tiny animal, sometimes you can keep cells or the venom or poison that animal had, and then you can reuse it. It's not super common, as you may know, unless you've done this before. But you can do this. It's not impossible. I'm not a hydra. Oh, these are the those. Yeah, these are the. They have the big tentacles in the place. Very small predatory animals. There, yes, they're related to jellyfish and the corals. Okay. Ooh, interesting. Oh my god. Ugh. Doesn't the top of this thing alone looks freaky? It's like a used medical bag. Oh, let's go back here. Let's see. Stolen nematocysts. Kleptokinetic. They put thievery in their name. Let's see. They go through the stomach, don't hurt. Ah, it's nice, doesn't hurt them. Once in, they get assimilated by intestinal protuberances. Their intestines suck it up, basically. And then they get brought to the tentacles. So they go from the stomach to the intestines, whoop, straight out into the dorsal portions. Is it the dorsal? It's the hind body, but the tentacles. They protect themselves. Yeah. They don't know how they protect them. And some cells of large vacuoles could play a role. And some can take in plant cells and reuse this part right here. They can take in plant cells to reuse them to make food. That's photosynthesis right there. And they're taking the algae from soft corals, so they're using the algae to photosynthesize for them in order to just get the food from it. Because it's easier to make food on your back than it is to actually go and find the food and eat it yourself. The group of Sacoglossan, that's why we saved that one, the photosynthetic one. The Sacoglossan sea slugs can feed on algae and retain just the chloroplasts for their own photosynthetic use, which is called kleptoplasty, which sounds like some kind of plastic surgery. But I'm going to keep that for later. I need to reread that. Look at the Sacoglossan ones. They use a variety of chemical defenses and protection. I'll take you. But they don't need to be lethal. There's a good part. They exist that they should evolve to be distasteful rather than toxic. So they don't kill you, they're just annoying. Some of the sponge-eating ones concentrate their defenses. Yeah, this is more example of that theft thing that they were talking about. They're just taking any of the chemicals from the sponges and absorbing them into themselves to then reuse them on their own predators. Hold on. They're preying on their prey. Wait a minute, I'm going to type this out. They prey on their prey to not be prey. Okay, they're just eating and doing stuff with it. Protection is, yeah, they release acid from their skin. Lovely. Wish they could teach me that trick. What is this? The proceedings of the malacogical? I have no idea what. I need to know what that word means. What is malacogical? It's a branch of invertebrate zoology which deals with the study of mollusks in turn. Huh. So if you like mollusks, you're a malacologist. How many of them can there? There's a society, so there has to be a lot of these people. I've never heard that before. Well, if you guys want to become experts on mollusks, or you just want to tell people you are, call yourself a malacologist. I like the acid from the skin trick. Once the specimen is physically irritated or touched, it releases, oh my god, it releases mucus automatically. God. Not only is it's an acid, but it's also a mucousy acid. I bet it's sticky too, and it sticks to you, and it gets the acid all over you because you can't wash it off. Hold on a sec, I'm putting that up here. They possess a mucosal acid. Oh, God. Can you imagine that kind of stuff getting on you? Ugh. Ooh, they're making sound. Two species can emit sound audible to people. Huh. Okay, but if it's from an 1884 study and there's no subsequent literature in the scientific malacological community to back that up, why is it being cited here? Like, they should be able to do more. Very elegant species. They should produce a sound. The clink of steel wire on the side of a jar. Ding, ding. Interesting. A watch. So it's a clock clicking. It's a clock clicking down. Longest and most repeated when they are lively. Okay, if they're happy, they make more sound. It's not for when they're cold and without any motion. Oh, so if you make them depressed, they're not talking to you. They do not like the dark. Do not make clicks there. A distance of 12 feet, they're audible. Wow. Okay. Yeah, and you can see here the opinion people have. As long as an animal is pretty, they'll give it all these wonderful descriptions. But if they don't like it and it's ugly, they begin to have this weird approach to it. You can already see it in the way he's talking about it. The very elegant species of sea slugs. If these were the ugly slugs that people held, the big black ones, they wouldn't like it. They don't like all these different types of animals, but if they're pretty, all of a sudden, these wondrous marvels of elegant natural design, they'll start giving them all this description. The most delicate, defenseless, and beautiful gasteropods that inhabit the deep. Oh my god. Why did I know that was coming? They're hermaphroditic, which means they're bisexual. But in this case, literally, they're two sexes at the same time. And this is the key part. They're hermaphroditic, but they do not fertilize themselves. That would be ridiculous. They fertilize each other. I'm not exactly sure how. Well, there's a picture you guys can look at. Lovely. Mating takes a few minutes. There's a dance. Okay, hold on. They're hermaphrodites. They dance. They deposit their eggs with a within gelatinous spiral. I'm glad they know that it's a spiral-shaped gelatinous pole, which is described as looking like a ribbon. Nice. The number can vary, just one or two, or two. Oh my god. They can have, this species has 1 or 2 eggs. This one can have 25 million eggs. Ooh, the eggs contain toxins from the sea sponges to deter predators. Wow. After hatching, they look almost identical, even though they're smaller, and they also have fewer serrata or kerata. Their lifespan is from a few weeks to a year. Oh, that's sad. They only live a few weeks to a year. So sad. Oh, here we go. They're laying eggs over here. Right, and if you didn't know, the orange thing is a nudibranch. No, it's a ribbon. It's like a ribbon. It's kind of like a tube. It's an egg tube. And this is their mating behavior. Oh, yeah, but that's not PG. All of them are. Okay, they're all carnivorous. Specifically, they eat sponges. That is actually hydroid. Okay, I like the name now. Bryozoans. What else they eat? Ooh, they eat some sea slugs or their eggs. And notice, it's other sea slugs, not the same species. It does not make them carnivores. They just look a little bit like them. They're not the same species. And why? As soon as I said that, I read the word cannibal. Why? I cannot assume these things. I shouldn't be doing that. On some occasions, they are cannibals and prey on members of their own species. You guys. I was gonna say you weren't cannibals. Ridiculous. Some hydroids. Smaller for this. Bryozoans to be specific. The zoans. It's a One Piece reference. Let's see. Slugs. Let's see. Slug. Eggs. Also cannibalistic. Some eat. What is a tunicate? Some eat tunicates, which looks like a kind of. Is that a shell or not a shell? What is that thing? It's not a gastropod. Some eat tunicates. Yeah, again, the nudibranches, they eat each other. Barnacles. You got barnacles, you get them. Get rid of all your barnacles. Tunicates. Barnacles and anemones. The anemone of an anemone. The enemy of my anemone is my anemone. Hold on. The enemy of my enemy is my anemone. Enemy of my enemy is my anemone. The sad thing is that sentence actually does make sense. The enemy of my enemy is an anemone. God. Anyone can say that very fast. Ugh. Get to practicing. Oh, here's an interesting one. The surface flying nudibranchs. We talked about this one. The glaucous one. The very cool thin one. Okay, what are this name? They had, what are they called? It's up here. These are different. They don't look the same. Alright, what are these things? I mean, I guess they're technically Cynodosics. But they're more like feet, honestly. They're kind of like foot yeah, I just say the tentacles. Tentacles makes everything easier. Just round it all off. It's a specialist predator of the siphonophores, like the Portuguese man of war. So just a type of a kind of a jellyfish. Floating terror. Oh, it's a hydrozoan. Okay. Well, it's kind of the same thing, though. The predatory mollusk sucks air into its stomach to keep it afloat and uses a muscular foot to cling to surface film. To find a small victim, it envelops it with its capacious mouth, but if it's larger, it nibbles off its fishing tentacles. So basically, it'll find a way to eat you. Okay, it goes after the nematocysts, like we just talked about. It'll find the tentacles to eat them, so it can get all the stinging cells, and then it can use them to sting people itself. And it does not digest nematocysts. Yep, there we go. And it defends it. So yes, it is doing that in fact. I suppose you could, if there's a species out there, it could digest the nematocysts. I don't know if it wants to, but this seems a much better purpose than just digesting everything. So let's get you there. No, wait a minute. What is this? So hold on. A sea anemone. Oh, I've been doing this wrong. Wow, I got that completely wrong. So an anemone, Huh. Oh my goodness. Anemone. I just remember Finding Nemo. Anemone. That's what I remember. So there are sea versions, and there are these towering flowering plants. Okay, let's just solve this.
Anemone.
Yeah, it is anemone. Anemone. Okay, there are anemones, and there are sea anemones. Anemone. 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 Alright. Okay, there are Dorid and Aeolid ones, also spelled Eolid. The Dorids are branchial gill plumes which form a cluster on the posterior. Oh, around the anus. Very nice. Fringes of the mantle do not contain any intestines. Okay. So these are the Dorids. They have the pretty things here. And there's Aeolids, which have the serrata on the back instead. They have no mantle, and some host zooanthellae. They're dinoflagellates that live in symbiosis with some invertebrates. Okay. So the ones that follow the serrata or curata on their back that flow all over the place, those are aeolids. The Dorids are more like flatworms, but they have a little ploof. They have the plumes. So Dorids are plumy, aeolids are tentacly. Dorids and aeolids. I'm just going to call it posterior. Okay, they're not really sure what to do with them, so they're kind of like trying to go back through what they called them, try to change some names, look at what they call them. They're not really certain. You're seeing they're in the order Nudibranchia, which is located in this branch. Okay, so this is very confusing. Man, there's so many of them. It's a sea hare. There's algae sap-sucking sea slugs. Hold on, that is a great name. Sap-sucking sea slugs. What is that name? Sacaglossa? Sacaglossa and Sacaglossin. So Sacaglossa are sap-sucking sea slugs. Swimming surreptitiously like Slavly's better here because it's more tricky to say with the S's and the Y's. There we go. Sacaglossa are sap-sucking sea slugs swimming slyly. Ah, fun tongue twisters. Side gill slug, got bubble snails, got sea hares, sapsuckers. Ooh, the pleura branches. Place the longer branches in the nudipleura. And then they recognize, oh, so Opistobranchia is not a valid clade. I'm not getting into all this. Instead, the nudipleura is an offshoot of the thin plate. Okay, this is just taxonomy stuff. This is going to be 12 nightmares and a headache. But for the sake of ease, I'm just using these so I can see pretty pictures of nudibranchs. I'm not going to actually go through any of this because I don't want to. Oh my god, look at all these. Okay, now we're just going to look at the pretty sea slugs. The nudibranch sea slugs. But I should look at some of these tabs before these tabs try to kill me. Let's look at Nudibranchs, the side gill ones. Here's one example. Yeah, they're just going to keep breaking down, but I'm not going to go through all of them. So what is... And this is great because this looks like a shell, actually. So it's really good for hiding. And this would be a good case of camouflage for its mimicry. In lieu of an actual nickname there, just give them smaller nicknames. Call them shell slugs. We have head shield ones. This is Calodonura varians. Actually, this is not bad. Well, look at him. Look at this. The purple brings out his colors so well. It makes him pop. Okay, there are so many of these things. We cannot go through all of them. Oh, look at all these families. Look at all this division between them. Look at this. Look at this for hours. Okay. Keep that for exploratory purposes. But for brevity, we are going to go through simple ones. I mean, it kind of reminds me of a razor, but I don't think that's a good enough name for him. I'm not sure what kind of name to give him, though. What I do know is that purple pops. There we go. It's reminding me of one of the hammerhead sharks. I'll just call him purple hammerhead slug. And by the way, if you think these are just the simple ones, or there isn't much more to look at, there's a lot more to look at. Some of these guys are amazing in all of their different shapes and sizes and colors. Let's put you down there. Go with your friends at the bottom. Ooh, what's this one? They can produce sulfuric acid to attack you. That's how difficult they are. Yeah, sea squirts. Okay, they're fun enough. I'll cop them down here. This thing will spit acid at you, huh? Ooh, scary. Oh, check this out. Some nice gill art here. This is what I'm talking about. There's so much art inherent in their unique little shapes and sizes. And you can find so many different types of varieties. I'm not sure what to call him, though. He's going to have to go down here at the bottom. Alright, so for the sake of time, I can't go through all of these immediately. There's just too many of them. But let's go through some of the more interesting ones, because I definitely want to see what is being offered here. So here they have their nice little identification slide. I can at least check that out later. Not say what this one is. I wish they can give this if they want, but they should also show what these actually are. But let's get some images here. We can check them out. Ooh, a fuchsia flatworm. You look at that color. is this this has to be the nudibranch, but I think this is part of it too. They look so different from each other. I think it's part of it. I'm not sure. Marcus. Okay. Huh. Marcus aeolid sea slug. Or affiliate. Let's see him. Ooh, nice and pretty. Yes, touch my pretty purple tendrils. Wow. He'd work really well on the seafloor because he could always, the serrata could always come up, and they can look like just flowing purple, if there's purple grass on the seafloor, flowing with the tide, back and forth. So that would be good camouflage for him too, unless he likes exploration, in which case it does not help him at all. There we go. This one's a purple nudibranch with orange serrata erupting from its back. It looks like a volcano. Oh, it's the Spanish shawl nudibranch. Okay. You know, there's some photography. This is amazing photography. Look at this. Look at him stand up. Oh wow. Yeah, going through them. More articles here. It's got some other ones that I saved. There we go. I've seen this one a bunch of times. Nice, kind of like darker green, but platinum green. It probably looks different in person. And these little, that's a dorsal one. So what are those? Those are dorids. Yeah, the doors, they're plumes on the back. There's a nice little plume, but it branches off a number of ways to resemble a plant. Same here with their little antenna at the top. It gives them a pretty distinct appearance. What else we got? The Marcus ones. Fancy. Yeah, occasionally you come across the white ones too. I don't know if being white helps you on the seafloor. It might kind of stick out amongst all the color. And you can see some themes repeating here. For example, this one right here. And this one repeats over and over. You see these guys everywhere. Where's the other blue one? This dark blue one with the yellow stripe, and this sky blue one with a little dorsal plume here. Those repeat plenty of times as well. And let's keep going. Who else can we see? The apolegma? Come up here. Yeah, what else can we see? Ah! Don't decapitate them. So rude. Right? People describe them so differently. This one, they went with the high fashion models of the ocean tits. But they have a style, you gotta admit. Oh, I just had a great idea. I just had an amazing idea. You need to draw a few hundred of them locked in some sort of combat or choreographed dance. That would be amazing. Alone, that would be a huge undertaking for an artist. There's so much to paint. Not again. Just type in Nudibranch plushie. You'll find plushies. Let's see those. Okay, so these repeat a lot. Now, I'm not going to go through every single one under the sun. Or, sorry, under the sea. We're under the sea. And I should also mention this. Their size, again, I said it earlier, 400 to 600 millimeters. it means that they're not very big. At most, 23 inches. So about, how much would that be? Either the size of your nail, like it's a very small coin, or maybe they could fit in your hand and kind of move around. But these guys are small. To get these photos, you'll need a much better camera, which also works underwater, of course. And I could probably go through this for days and just look at them and list them off and off and off. I think I'll be making a compilation one where I just show different ones. However, that'll take more time. So in the meantime, you guys can just check these out. Let's see what's this here. Okay. Yeah, this is probably the best that we're going to get just by searching through the images. Now there's some specialized ones I also found. I'll bring those to your attention too. And you can see some of the most common ones. However, there are, I believe there's one up here which is not listed. Yes, it's not listed specifically. But let's pick some of the biggest ones. And of course, after a while, they just they devolve into colors. What's the yellow one? What's the red one? What's the green one? However, plenty of them are named specifically, and they look fantastic. So let's look at nudibranches, opalescent ones. So I suppose it's just called an opalescent nudibranch, but I think that's just because they think it looks like an opal. I don't know if that's the name. Here's, of course, one of the most popular ones. It gets the name blue dragon. However, we saw that it was just called a glaucus, and that's its full name? Glaucus atlanticus. If you can guess what that's from, Atlanticus. Let's see, yes, and they're pretty much all the same. Oh, going after the man of war. It's amazing. Yeah, no person would ever touch a man of war because how dangerous it is. But when it comes to these guys, they'll just go up and start nibbling on it. It's the most striking one I can find. Let's go take a guess. There we go. Oh. I wonder what all these different, because these are very different from the other versions. This is how you can also see how it's not the same species. It looks extremely different. It has no serrata on its back. It has no dorsal plumage around its posterior. Instead, it's in a straight line, which the others weren't. A lot of them were flat or square, kind of like brick-shaped. And it has all these little fins, these tentacles coming out from the fins, like little paddles. So you can tell just from this how different of a species it is. But let's save that one, because obviously it is one of the most popular and unique looking ones. And it is called the blue dragon. Oh, it's a red dragon. That is a red dragon. I just see two, so I don't know if there's actually more. And of course, there's Pokemon fan art of the nudibranches. Let's go to the next one. This is the bunny nudibranch that everybody loves talking about, because obviously it looks like a bunny. It is white with all these little black dots and two, I guess, antennae. I forgot they're just called tentacles, but they have like little black ears. They look exactly like little bunnies. And what is their name? There's no name on this. Name down here. Can't know the species. Oh, there we go. Oh, so that is the actual name. Joruna parva. Call them the bunnies. Yes, and it gets the name Sea Bunny. Again, very cool. Oh. Got him saved up. And they have a bunch of articles talking about this. People are going all crazy, like, ooh, look at the little nudibranch. She's so fluffy, I want to hug him. Ah, I can eat this one. Not literally. I'm not going to eat a nudibranch. It's even white. It's even white. It looks fuzzy white, like cotton. It looks like sea cotton. That's how white it is. Wow. Right. And this one, of course, you'll figure out why. Not this one. You'll figure out why the next one got its name. Where is? Should be up here somewhere. Oh, I don't have it yet. Okay. It's this one. This is the Pikachu nudibranch, for obvious reasons. It's all the yellow, the ears, the black on top of the ears. It doesn't look too different from Pikachu. This, yeah, this is a very specific example. It reminds me of gummy bears too a lot. But just all these different styles that they have, they're going to resemble so many different things because it's like playing artistically with all the different colors and patterns you can draw with. So it's called Thessacera pacifica. Guess where they're from? Yeah, it's littered with Pikachu everywhere. Alright, any more types of nudibranches? And of course, there's so many we can go through. We haven't even gotten to this one yet. So they call this the sheep nudibranch, but look at this thing. It has what looks like either green peacock-like feathers. It has these cute little eyes with the antennae that go out. He looks like an anime character. There's so much potential behind them. If you could figure out a way to make some kind of a attraction park around them, or some type of game, you could collect them as collectibles. Get all the different nudibranches. With the pure variety they have, there's a lot of potential here, as well as education about marine life. Just as much as SpongeBob SquarePants was marketed towards children and was used to help teach children about sea life, that's what the original creator wanted to do. You learn about different creatures that live in the sea. You could use them just as easily. Make a TV show about them. There's so many of them. Just give them traits and names and have them do stuff under the sea. It would be perfect for them. Absolutely perfect. Right, but that's probably enough for the nudibranches today. I don't want to go through this forever. I am a bit stuck.